Good morning, dear students of class 12. Today in your English online class, we are going to further continue the lesson, The Enemy. So let us, before taking up the lesson further, let us recap part 1 of the lesson, The Enemy by Pearl S. Buck. We did in the previous class about Sadao Hoki's childhood days and then about his father. Another important happening in his life was meeting his wife, Hannah. And then we also discussed about Sadao's reputation as a doctor. The incident that day when an injured American prisoner of war was lying at the seashore near their house, and they rushed to this man in order to help him out. Now, let us further continue the lesson. The dilemma was what to do with this man, as this man was not just an injured man. He was an American prisoner of war. So Sadao wonders what they should do with this man. But being a doctor, his trained hands, they seem to be doing what they could to stop the bleeding. So after packing the wound with sea moss, Sadao turns to his wife and then declares the best thing to do was to toss this man back into the sea, as he was their enemy. And she also agrees, but neither she nor Sadao make the first move. Out of kindness, concern for this man, Sadao says that if they brought this man to their house, both Sadao and Hannah would be arrested, as this man was an enemy. However, if they turned the man over to the Japanese authorities, the man would certainly die. So this was the dilemma, what to do with this man, whether to bring him to the house or to hand him over to the Japanese police. Hannah agrees that the kindest thing they could do would be to push this man back into the sea. But both Hannah and Sadao, they remain motionless, looking down at the injured man. They wanted the other person to take the step, but they could not. They could not be so unkind with this man. So this was the dilemma, what to do. Now if we analyze this, it reveals Sadao's divided loyalties. As a surgeon, he feels compelled to save this man, and his expert fingers, they had already started working how to stop the blood and providing first aid to this man. But at the same time, being a Japanese citizen, Sadao knows that he should not have anything to do with the white man, as the man was their enemy, a prisoner of war. Even though the man is a political enemy, Hannah is concerned with doing the kindest thing, and the kindest thing is throwing back into the sea rather than giving him over to the police, while still she is thinking about her own safety and that of her family. Once again, though Hannah and Sadao are unable to act on convictions, it suggests a deep, inexplicable pull to do something even kinder for the man. So, conflict resolution. This dilemma, how they try to work out. Hannah says they need to put the man back into the sea, though she refuses to be the one to do it. Sadao feels that he can't do it either. And he thinks he could easily hand over the man to the authorities if he weren't wounded. Sadao tells his wife, I care nothing for him if he is my enemy, and all Americans are my enemy. He adds that the man is clearly just a common fellow, too judging by his foolish face. however, since he is wounded. So he tries to justify the act of helping this man. Saddam trails off and Hannah says the only thing left to do is take the white man into their house. Saddam wonders what they will tell the servants. So the immediate concern was to bring this man to the house. This is the final decision, but at the same time, the first opposition they are going to meet is with their servants in the house. Hannah says they must tell the servants that they are only bringing the man into the house to hand him over to the police, as indeed we must. They hoist the man up and carry him into the house through the many passageways. So they finally decide to take this man to the house. And they would tackle the servants by telling them that they are going to hand him over to the police. Now, if we analyze this conflict resolution, it analyzes Saddam's conflict between his duty as a surgeon and his duty as a Japanese citizen. His status as a surgeon means that it is his responsibility to save lives whenever possible, even if that life has a fullest face and is an American. He is duty bound as a surgeon. Thus, his duty as a surgeon to save his patient's life is also largely a duty to himself. And as the story goes on, it's clear that Saddam's occupation is an inextricable part of his identity. He is first a doctor, bringing the prisoner of war to the house. Saddam and Hannah bring the man to the room that once belonged to Saddam's father. The room is still in immaculate condition, perfect condition, though father is no more. It is outfitted only with Japanese goods. Everything here had been Japanese to please the old man, who would never in his own home sit on a chair or sleep in a foreign bed. So he was a true die-hard patriot. Hannah pulls a delicate silk blanket from the cupboard, but hesitates, seeing how dirty the man is. Saddam says he will wash the man, but Hannah objects, declaring, "I cannot bear for you to touch him." So the man is brought inside, and the room where he is brought is Dr. Saddam's father. Bringing the prisoner of war to the house. Even though Saddam's father doesn't appear in the story, but it is in flashbacks. The old man's presence is throughout the lesson. His perfectly preserved room suggests that perhaps his nationalistic sentiments have also been preserved and live on in the household. This seems likely as Hannah's earlier compassion dissolves into racism when she tells her husband not to touch the white man. So even they are full of racial prejudices. Reaction of the servants. Meanwhile, Saddam tells the gardener about the white man. When Saddam is out of earshot, the gardener firmly tells Hannah that Saddam ought not to help a white man and that the man ought to die. This is the reaction of the servants. He explains that the man was shot and then the sea caught him and wounded him with her rocks. If Saddam undoes the wound that the gun and rocks inflicted, the sea will take revenge on their household. So it is a warning that the gardener gives to Dr. Saddam and Hannah. Hannah and Yummy go to the white man and Hannah instructs the servant girl to wash him. She refuses, declaring that she has never washed a white man and will never start now. Hannah yells, shout at Yummy to do it. She told, but Yummy still refuses and leaves the room. So the servants, they are not in favor of this decision of Dr. Saddam and Hannah to help out the prisoner of war. Enraged, angry, Hannah begins cleaning the white man herself, thinking stupid Yummy is this anything but a man and a wounded, helpless man. She thinks these tender thoughts, though not really liking the man. The man's condition is helpless, and she feels for this man, but at the same time, she is against this man as he is an American prisoner of war. He is their enemy. She puts the silk blanket on him because she feels he would get cold. Now, if we analyze this, Hannah's repeated use of the word must reveals that duty is important. As mistress of the house, she must open up with her servants, make sure that they respect her. As a Japanese citizen, she must follow the law. As a mother, she must prioritize her children's safety. So many duties Hannah is bound with. And as a wife, it is her duty to recite all this to Saddam, to inform Saddam and ensure that her husband makes the proper choice. Like Hannah's earlier repetition of the word must, even the servants, the gardener, repeated use of ought to reveals his commitment to duty. The old gardener suggests it is their duty to nature to not undo the wounds she inflicted upon the white man. It is the punishment which their country and God has given to the white man. So, as a doctor, they should not treat. It also reflects Yami's blatant racism, which gives Hannah a clear view of her own narrow judgments and opinions about the white man. So Hannah also dislikes the white man because the white man is their enemy, an American, a prisoner of war. But at the same time, as a human, she feels for the white man, for the injured man, and is with her husband to save his life. So let us recapitulate the part which we did today. Sadao Hoki's childhood days, which we have already taken up. Dr. Sadao as a father and meeting Hannah, an incident that day, that is an American prisoner of war is injured, is lying at the shore, and Dr. Sadao and Hannah rush out, and when they come to know he is an American prisoner of war, they decide to bring him to the house after a great dilemma, and finally, being a doctor, Dr. Sadao thinks of saving the man first and then handing him over to the police. The reaction of the servants who are opposed to Dr. Sadao's decision of saving the prisoner of war. Sadao's reputation as a doctor and the dilemma, and finally the conflict resolution. That they are going to bring this man to the house, they are going to treat him and then finally hand him over to the police. So this conflict is resolved in this manner. So we took up part 2 of this lesson. You will go through the textbooks, and in case you have any problem, you can post it in your WhatsApp groups. Thank you, class, and take care.